I take that every day.
You take that every day?
Big tablespoon of cod liver oil. Yeah.
My
It's
friend
anti-inflammatory. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
My friend that he died, but he was a cod liver, great guy, but he was all about the health of cod liver oil.
It's very good, yeah. And the fish oils. I mean, you really got to get the omega-6s out of your body, or very, very low,
Right,
and the
those are
omega-3s. Yeah.
So you're an orthopedic surgeon. How did that happen? How did you become? Why did you choose
this
that?
is a good story now that we're talking about fishing. So my grandfather was an Italian immigrant on my mother's side, and all my grandparents were, but he taught me how to fish. So he loved fishing, and early on he would fish for pleasure, but also to put food on the table.
I want details. Where and for what? Well, you're talking to a fisherman. You can't just say taught me to fish. I need
Canisius
more.
Lake, especially Long Pond as well, near Rochester there, but lots of bass, perch, sunfish, pike, pickerel, things like that, walleye every once in a while. But he taught me how to fish. So we would go fishing and super excited to go, crack of dawn, and we always caught fish. He always caught fish. So then we'd come home, he'd get at his workbench, and we start cleaning them. And the other grandkids would get grossed out, but I always used to like to watch. And you'd see the liver. He'd show me the liver. He'd show me the intestines, the heart,
So
the
how
gills,
old are you?
all the insides. I'm like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Future surgeon.
So that's exactly right. He would cut these fish up with a knife and a scissors like a surgeon.
Yeah.
And so I was amazed with the inside of these fish. And so that's where I got my love of biology.
Okay.
And then I also had a love of sports. I played soccer. You grow up in Rochester, you have to play soccer. You're Italian, right?
Yeah.
It's a law.
It's a law. I'm athletic, but I was never going to be a pro athlete, but I always loved sports as well. Mm-hmm. My father was an attorney. His parents were immigrants. He had to work his way through college and through law school. He did that working construction. So he taught me how to use power tools. He taught me how to drill, saw, all that type of stuff. And so I got to use my hands in that regard. He basically said, don't go into law. Right. Now, his brother was a physician, the original Dr. Pietropaoli, Dr. John Pietropaoli. He was an internist. So I had this love of sports. I had this love of biology. I loved using power tools. And so I said, I know I'm not going to go into sports. And I actually had 3 things I wanted to go into. It was either a Marine fighter pilot, but my eyes weren't good enough. A rock star, drummer, but my parents would have never let me do that. So
You're a drummer?
I had to, yes.
Right.
I had to settle for orthopedic. I settled for sports medicine. So I go up to my uncle and I said, Uncle John, I want to be a sports medicine doctor. He's like, oh God, you got to be an orthopedic surgeon to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what's an orthopedic surgeon? He's like, well, they fix bones. They use drills and saws and hammers. Wow. And I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. Like, I can use drills, saws. I can fix people. I can be a doctor. I can love of sports. So that's kind of how I came to decide I wanted to go into sports medicine and become an orthopedic surgeon, because he said you have to be an orthopedic surgeon.
So how old are you when this conversation is going on?
Well, by the time I asked my uncle that, I was probably 15 or 16. I pretty much knew that I wanted to be a surgeon, and at that point a sports medicine doctor by then.
Did you know that you had to have good grades and all that? Did you buckle down in school?
That's exactly what he said. He said, he goes, it's really hard to get into. He goes, you have to have really, really good grades. And he said, even then you probably won't get into it. So I took that as a challenge, and I took it to heart. I did go to Syracuse University, and the first year I was there was Pearl Washington, Patrick Ewing. We had
we were there at the same time.
We had a weekend where we had Bruce Springsteen 2 days in a row, and then we had .1 Georgetown come in. So my first year I didn't get the good grades. I got okay grades. And then the light bulb went off, and from my sophomore year on, I was 3.8, 4.0, 4.05. Wow, I just had to do it because I knew I wanted to heed my uncle's advice. But that's kind of how I came to it. And you're absolutely right. You have to get really good grades and do very well on your tests and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's something else.
You had me at cleaning fish.
Yeah, but there you go. That's kind of how it came about. But we started with fish conversation, and
there was another doctor who used saws and hammers and things. Dr. Frankenstein. Yes. He was pretty popular.
Sure.
I guess he would be the father of orthopedic surgery. Way back.
So the love of all of those things, that's really interesting. Came together, and you get to help people.
Absolutely.
Hey, we'll jump back after the break, and we'll hear more about your journey, but thank you, Mark. Victory in Motion, And then the home knee repair, not knee replacement guy is here with us.
You got to hear that story.
We're going to hear that. I want to hear it.
Victoryinmotion.com, right? Victoryinmotion.com?
Correct.
Okay, great.